Regency McCormick Place here in downtown Chicago. I'm Bryant alongside the coach, Casey Matteson, and you're watching a special video extra exclusive here on TopBillingSports.com. Casey, it's the 2012 Big Ten Media Days here in Chicago. Every coach from all 12 teams in the Big Ten is here for this two-day event. This is day one that just wrapped up with press conferences with each head coach. We also have select players from each team here too. And there are a lot of news items to go over here from this day. But first, Casey, you had a one-on-one interview with Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald talking about St. Paris Graham graduate Nick Van Hoos. Tell about that story.
Oh yeah, I had heard through the grapevine that Van Hoos had a chance to be starting defensive back with the Wildcats this year, and he agreed with me that was a true assessment, and what a great, outstanding kid he is, and what a good person he is, and what great family he comes from, and how hard he's worked. And last year, even though he redshirted, they said Coach Fitzgerald said that he was real close to actually making into the playing time, but the redshirting actually helped him, Bryant.
Oh, I'm sure.
He bulked up, and he's really is completely committed to football at Northwestern, and went on and told me some, this about his recruiting story, and introduced me to the assistant AD, athletic director at Northwestern, and we're hoping we can follow Van Hoos's career for the next 4 years.
Absolutely. It's very interesting, Casey. I know there was a little bit of doubt when he left Graham High School of what his ability would be in the Big Ten, and he's going to be going into his freshman season of playing as a starter. So that is definitely going to be a nice thing to watch over the next few years, how his career develops there.
Well, and he had originally committed to Indiana, and then when they had the coaching change, he had some sort of tie-in with the assistant coaches. And he decided that he wanted to pursue elsewhere, so he went to Northwestern. And academically, you can't get any better than that in the Big Ten. So hopefully, Nick will have a great career, and it's going to be his freshman season this year. So we look forward to following his career.
Speaking of Indiana, we have another area player here, and Adam Rapogel from Indiana. Hopefully, we will get a chance to talk with him a little bit more tomorrow when they have one-on-one interviews here at the Media Days. But in case you turn now to a couple news things, we'll start off with the big one. Penn State head coach Bill O'Brien was up and had to go on his third straight day of answering a lot of questions about the sanctions that the NCAA handed down to Penn State just 3 days ago. Casey, how did you think O'Brien did, and what did you think of some of his answers on the day?
Well, he channeled his inner Belichick with the interviews. He was very stern, very confident, very short answer. He had, I think, 3 questions where he answered a definitive no to, and no elaboration. He seemed to be completely focused, and he knows that he's got a job ahead of him, but he looked at it as almost a challenge to his team, and he gets to see what his team's made of, and I think he's kind of looking forward to that.
He talked a lot about adversity on the day, Casey, and thought it was going to be a good opportunity for Penn State going forward. But again, those are very harsh sanctions that came down from the NCAA. He's going to lose 10 scholarships a year, and of course, with the loss of a 4 years opportunity of going to a bowl game that's now gone with that 4-year bowl ban. They can't win the Big Ten championship either because they can't go to the Big Ten championship game. One thing I thought was interesting, he brought up when a question was posed to him about the loss of scholarships. He brought up the NFL and his coaching time in the NFL with the Patriots and their limited roster as compared to college. College, at times you can have north of 100 players, especially if a team has any amount of walk-ons at all too. And he said he would be more than able. He said he's going to be more than able to manage. It's about 65 players is what they would have for scholarship through those 4 years of time. He said that'll be plenty because that's still beating the NFL by about 10 players.
It's also going to be difficult as well with recruiting, you would imagine, because
it should be.
A high school kid now going into Penn State knows that he's going to be sitting for a few years from out going to a bowl game. One thing I did think was really impressive though is the fact that he looked at the game. He said, our kids have a chance to play a bowl game every home game,
That's
6
true.
or 7 times a year at Beaver Stadium. And he actually put almost like a challenge out to his fan base and said, we expect you to be 105 strong every home game, and you need to come on board because our team has put it behind them, and they're off and going.
Turning to locally here to the Ohio State Buckeyes, Casey Urban Meyer spoke on the day. Didn't really have too much newsworthiness or anything new coming out, which is a good thing for Ohio State with the last previous turmoil that has happened recently. What did you think of Coach Meyer on the day?
I thought he was right at par like he usually is. Very gracious and very appreciative of where he is, and I think he's looking forward to a great season. It's really hard. These guys haven't even started fall practice yet, so it's really hard for all of these coaches to get a good gauge of where they are. But he was fortunate. He said that none of his seniors left after knowing that they would not have a bowl game this year, and he said it really was a tough hit back when they found out that they were going to be ineligible this year. And that makes the division only 4 teams eligible out of the 6.
Absolutely.
For the Big Ten Championship.
Absolutely. You look at the 4 out of the Legend side that are going to be eligible. You've got Indiana, Illinois, Purdue, and Wisconsin. So it's really up to Wisconsin not to mess things up there when you look at that. They are by far and away the favorite of that side. It'll be interesting to see. I'd say Ohio State is definitely going to be a contention team there. Can make a lot of noise. And you'd have to think that they're, definitely in the top half of that side, too, in terms of how things will go out. Of course, though, like you said, it doesn't matter if Ohio State goes undefeated, they're ineligible from the Big Ten championship game. So it's really up to Wisconsin here. It'll be interesting to see what the other 3 can do. Purdue is the only one I think that has the ability to make any noise. Indiana's, I don't think, under Kevin Wilson coming off a 1-win season, they'll improve, but they're not going to be in contention. And, of course, first-year head coach Tim Beckman in Illinois, I don't look for them to be in contention to make it to Indianapolis, too. So what do you think Wisconsin's going to have to do to take care of business?
They have to have games like they did last year where they can't have those games where they lost last-second games to Michigan State and Ohio State. They've got to, do whatever they can, win their home games, and win a couple on the road is really what they have to do. We would be remiss if we didn't mention another local tie on Wisconsin's team, linebacker Chris Borland, who was running back on the state championship Alter football team. He has overcome injuries, and he is now on the preseason list for All Big Ten.
That's neat. That is good for him as well. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, Casey?
No, we're looking forward to next tomorrow with one-on-one interviews with some of the coaches. I think it's been, I think it's been a great first day. The coaches are really helped run. They're kind of the superstars, as Commissioner Jim Delaney said. College football is about the coaches, and we've got some real good coaches in this conference now, and it's really going to be impressive to watch the rest of the year. For the coach, Casey Matteson, I'm Bryant Billing. Thank you for watching this video exclusive. Stay tuned for more from the Big Ten Media Days right here on TopBillingSports.com.